welcome Adam Newman.
Thank you. Hey, I think you guys are the right crowd for this. How many of you think if you were put on the spot, you would know all the words to the Fresh Prince theme song? All right, we're gonna start here. You tell me the next lyrics, okay? I got in one little fight. My mom got scared and sent a movie with my auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Awesome. No, stop. All right. We'll do the whole thing later. I whistled for a cab and when it came near, right? Did you know this? Did you know there's another verse to the Fresh Prince theme song? You know this? There's an extra verse. There's a long version. You can watch it on YouTube. Another verse where Will Smith is in an airplane drinking orange juice out of a champagne glass, and then he lands, and then I whistled for a cab and when it came near. Thing is, they only showed it the first 3 episodes of the first season, so most people haven't seen it. Without that verse, though, the song doesn't make any sense because it means Will Smith took a cab from West Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Bel Air, California. And assuming that's like a New York City cab at $2.50 initial fee plus 40 cents every fifth of a mile, West Philadelphia to Bel Air being 2,728.44 miles, that cab ride would have cost $5,459.38. In 1990, and assuming they drove straight there. It messed with me when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I thought "Yo home, smell you later" referred to a 3-day cab ride. But how weird would it be if Will Smith was like, hey, maybe we should pull over and get a hotel room? Like, would they leave the meter running? Would they split a room? I always pictured Will Smith and a cab driver sleeping head to toe in one hotel room. And by the time you get to Bel Air, you have to tip him so well. Because chances are he's driving back solo, unless the off chance he finds a troubled youth on the streets of Bel Air that needs to ride back to Philadelphia. If anything, you could say that that cab was rare. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're gonna do that at the end of each one. I'm gonna get a little more personal with this one, if you guys don't mind. It took me a really long time to figure out how to break up with my last girlfriend because you're a comedian and you want to do it in a funny way. And this is how I eventually decided how to do it, and I call this breaking up with your girlfriend, Wallace and Gromit style. And it goes like this. It goes, I don't think we should see each other anymore. Hey, give it up for me. I almost got in my first fight. How about that, right? Yeah, violence. It was my fault completely. This is what happened. I stepped out of a bar to get some air, and that's when almost fights happen for me, when I've been drinking and I'm by myself, because I will talk to everybody. And what I did is I would go up to any 2 guys standing anywhere near each other, and I would say, cute couple. And I don't do that. That was my fault. I learned it very quickly. I can turn it around on myself, though, and say it wouldn't bother me if somebody did that to me. If somebody were to say, me and you are a cute couple, we don't have a sexual relationship, do we? But if somebody were to say me and you were a cute couple, we could handle that, right? We're not crazy. We can just take it as like, hey, maybe we got a pretty girl at home. Maybe we'll have 2 drinks and we will be a cute couple. Like, either way, it doesn't matter. Like, I thought you could say cute couple. I have it in my head that you can just say it to anybody in New York, and you can't. I say a cute couple to one couple, and this guy looked like the singer from Biohazard, grabbed me by the shirt collar, threw me against the side of the bar, and went, tell me you're a pussy. And I went, I'm a pussy! So fast, no intention of defending myself at all. Because I'm probably not going to fight you anyway. I'm definitely not going to fight you after you pick me up and throw me against the side of the bar. Like, you've proven you can win. I'm 6'2", 110 pounds. The medical term for that is gross. I'm not beating anybody in a fight ever. I remember going to the doctor when I was 16, he pulled out a weight chart. He's like, this colored area is normal weight height distribution. This white area is dangerously overweight. This white area is dangerously underweight. You are dangerously underweight. You need to gain weight. You need to eat protein. You need to exercise. This is douchey, but this is what I told my doctor when I was 16. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I have a 6-pack. That's what I told my doctor. And he said, you don't have a 6-pack. You're so thin, you can see your intestines through your skin. That's what that is. And then he shoved me and said, "Tell me you're a pussy!" Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good time. We had fun with that. Put both your arms up. Feels pretty good, huh? Yeah. You're welcome. My favorite jobs I've ever had have been working with kids. I love working with kids. I feel like I feel like it's, when I tell people I like working with kids, a lot of people see a dude in his mid-20s and they think that's creepy. And I feel like it's a thing I have to defend because it comes from a genuine place. And the first interview I had when I moved to New York for a job was at a daycare. And the first question the woman asked me was a very general, "Why do you want to work here?" And I said, "I genuinely enjoy working with kids, but not in a creepy way." And I realized, like, oh, that was the creepiest thing I could have said to open up that job interview. But she kept the interview going. She saw on my resume that I used to be a substitute teacher for elementary school, and I told her I moved to New York to do comedy, and she asked me to tell her a funny story about working with kids. And this is the story I told her in the job interview. I was substitute teaching second grade one day, and it was the absolute worst class I ever had in my life. It was like a scene out of Kindergarten Cop, just kids running around, refused to work. One kid lifted a desk over his head and threw up. I don't know what it is about lifting a desk that makes you throw up, but it just started a chain reaction of body explosions throughout the rest of the class. Another kid got a bloody nose. Another kid locked himself in the bathroom. I didn't see him for the rest of the day. I don't know what happened to him. Another kid just wanted to do the worm for the rest of the class. You guys know what the worm was? He had a group around him and he's doing the worm. And I started bargaining with him. I was like, if you will just work for the rest of the class, the last 2 minutes, I'll let you do the worm for everybody, if you just want the attention. He was like, deal, because second graders, very easy to bargain with. But all the other kids were like, well, if he gets to do something for the class, we get to also. I was like, fine, but they're uncreative piece of shit second graders. The only thing they could think of was also to do the worm for the rest of the class. So I was like, fine, if everybody will behave, the last 5 minutes of class will be dedicated to everybody doing the worm for each other. That's what we'll do. And we did, and only the first kid knew how to do the worm. So I was telling the woman in the job interview, I'm like, I had one kid do the worm for the class, and then I had 22 other second graders awkwardly humping the floor. And I immediately realized that was the creepiest thing I could have said in that job interview. I know. Yeah. I'm very funny. The job that I probably hated the most in college is I worked a late night shift, a graveyard shift at a grocery store. I worked 11 at night till 7 in the morning at a Kroger grocery store in Athens, Georgia. And, you know, the bars close at 2, so at like 2:30 you get your rush of, you know, just frat guys and frozen pizzas is all they want. And then they leave, and then no one else should come in the store after that. Like, that should be the end of it. But the craziest people come in at just the oddest hours. So the weirdest customer I ever had came in at 3:30 in the morning, disappeared in the back of the store for a while, and came back with 2 items. He had a zucchini and a jar of Vaseline. Those are the 2 things I have. And you know what that's for. You know what that's for. You want to know why? Because there's no southern recipe that calls for just 1 zucchini and a jar of Vaseline that you need to prep at 4 o'clock in the morning before you serve it. And you know, he didn't buy other items to mask it. He just put the zucchini and the Vaseline down with such confidence he might as well have said, "Hey buddy, going in my butt." He could have just said it. You know what it was for. And so I was like, all right, let's just do this. 2 goals turned into don't laugh and don't make eye contact. So I rang up the 2 items, and I go to put them in the bag, and he goes, "No bag." Why would you not want them in the bag? It's just me and you, man. Like, you're not, what, are you going to go out and triumphantly present in the parking lot? Like, just put them in a bag. The bag makes it easier to carry, okay? The only other reason not to use a bag in a grocery store is for environmental purposes. And let's be honest, you're already wasting food, okay? I hope you're wasting food, right? Don't eat that. Yep, I know. So I'm still looking down. I'm like, all right, I go to hand him the zucchini and the Vaseline. And you know, sometimes when you hand somebody something and like their fingers just touch your fingers, really, that's not the guy's fingers, so you want touching your fingers at 3:30 in the morning. Because you have to assume at 3:30 in the morning, he's not starting with the zucchini, right? Like, he's worked his way up. His night started at 8 o'clock. Friends reruns, and a little bit of finger exploration. That's how his night started. And then whatever comes between zucchini, fingers and zucchini, to where you're like, I have to go out and get something else. Like, we've exhausted everything here. And so as soon as his fingers touched my fingers, my eyes shot up. We just made eye contact. I let out a little giggle, and I was like, God damn it, the two things I didn't want to do, how could this possibly get any weirder than this? And then he winked at me. Brought the whole thing home. Confirmed. Going in his butt. He said it with his eyes. His big brown eyes. Which is either disgusting or poetic. But either way, you guys have been very nice, and thank you so much.